the storyline is continuing to go in directions that I honestly just wasn't quite prepared for. And what I mean by that is, aside from Granola's constant beating of Vegeta's ass, it's very apparent that Vegeta is not going to win over Granola. But Vegeta is just fighting him in such a desperate state. And it's to a degree that you haven't really seen Vegeta go at it so hard for something that just isn't really that desperate of a situation. I mean, hell, they could just leave, go somewhere else for a little while, come back and deal with them again. But Vegeta is taking this exceptionally personally. And even when Goku comes in to try to just tag out for a little bit and take over, Vegeta kicks him to the side. And it's just like, no, I'd rather get my ass kicked than have you take over. And Goku even calls him out. It's just like, dude, this is not the time for that stupid Vegeta attitude you have. But Vegeta says something that really threw me off. I only ever agreed to fight side by side when we had something to protect. And when Goku is just like, isn't preserving your own life protecting something? Vegeta's just like, I'd rather die than team up with you. And that really threw me. It's just like, what is it about this fight that Vegeta is trying to prove? Because Goku still has to step in and save him. Like, while they're talking, Granola goes for a vital shot, and Goku blasts Vegeta out of the way and takes over the battle. And Goku does a little bit better, honestly, even just being in his blue form, using special techniques to kind of redirect Granola's attacks to less vital areas on his body. Because there's enough of a delay in the way Granola attacks that Goku can kind of see it coming. I like that. There's a good bit of tactics there. But Granola makes it known, it's just like, but you don't hit hard enough for you to actually take me down. What you gonna do, man? And Goku's just like, yeah, it's kind of a problem. So Goku really doesn't have more of a plan than defense. And of course, he also gets beaten into the ground, and Goku's exhausted, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know how much more of this I could take. And Vegeta tags in again. And Goku, it's so weird to have Goku be the voice of reason here and be like, dude, why are you obsessed with doing this alone? And Vegeta says, just think of it as stubborn Saiyan pride if you want. And it's just like, no, Vegeta, it's definitely something more than just pride. And when Goku asks him, do you think he can actually take him down? Vegeta's just like, he's still learning, he's still developing. He won't last long. He's going to run up against his limits at some point, and that opening will lead me to victory. And then he asks Goku to please let him do this alone. And Goku accepts, tells him just don't die, and Vegeta just struts off, and Goku has the most dumbfounded look on his face. Like, he just can't read what Vegeta is trying to do here. And once Vegeta confronts Granola, Granola's just like, you're really out of your mind, taking me on alone again. And Vegeta's just like, well, so are you. I mean, are you just consumed with nothing but revenge? Is that all there is to you? Is there really no greater meaning to your life than this? Like, Vegeta's trying to get something through to Granola, to kind of bring him around to some degree, to kind of get him to let go of that anger that he feels. Like, he's trying to just be the entity that Granola can take his frustrations out on right up until the very end. And so he powers up to his ultra ego form, and Granola's just like, I thought you were done. And Vegeta's just like, yeah, my power has no limits. Goes back on the attack. They get into it. They end up in the Shigerian city, underneath the dome and all that. And Granola's just like, whoa, no, not here. we need to go someplace else, but Vegeta doesn't let up. It's just like, oh, I thought you didn't care about anything. And so Vegeta starts laying into him, trying his best, even going so far as to bite Granola. That's Goku's thing. We never see Vegeta resort to biting. At least, as far as I can remember, if you know of a time where we've ever seen Vegeta in a canon story bite his opponent, let me know. I'm very curious. But Granola manages to throw Vegeta to the ground, pin him, and it's just like, point blank, I don't have to worry about destroying the city. And he just lays into Vegeta, just daka 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 daka. And honestly, it starts to really mess up the city, honestly. I mean, less collateral damage, yeah, but man, it is just rocking the city. And as Granola is just exhausted and he sits down, he sees part of a building crumble away, and there's a Shugarian mom with her child, and that causes him to have a flashback back to when the Saiyans were attacking everything, and he ran over to the cathedral that we initially saw, and that's where we saw Bardock. But we see something else this time around where he runs into his mother, who's just glad that he's safe, and Granola says the others helped him get away. But then they start hearing these stomping sounds coming closer to them, and I assume that's when Bardock came and, I guess took them out. You would assume with the flashback we initially saw. And so Granola starts to freak out after seeing this. And Vegeta, picking himself back up once again, it's just like, look, the grudge you have against Saiyans, it's not unfounded. There's no way I could have any kind of hard feelings about you taking me out right here and now. But isn't the way you're going about this just repeating the whole cycle of violence? I mean, the Cerulean people, they were never this kind of people, were they? But Granola's just like, I can't move past this, man. I can't. We were a peaceful people, and you people took everything from us. And so he continues on with his attack, and he charges up his ultimate final attack. It's just like, I'm taking you out along with me, if that's what needs to happen. And so he charges up every bit of himself into one final attack, being like, Frieza will have to wait. I feel better just taking you out. And Vegeta, interestingly enough, it's just like, I couldn't go back to the unfeeling person I used to be. The power of a god of destruction was beyond the scope of a novice like me. And I'm just like, really? Is that what you're concerned about? And he thinks in that moment, as he's facing death, that maybe this is the Saiyan's fate, and he accepts it. And I'm like, Vegeta, buddy, what's going on in that mind of yours? Because there's a lot of different angles you could take this from. That Vegeta sees this as some kind of penance, as he is the representation of the culmination of his people, much as how Beerus was saying that Vegeta needed to, at one point, accept who he is, who his people were, and all of that, and Vegeta just couldn't let any of that go. Vegeta's just become so consumed with regret and guilt over everything he's done in the past, and he's really had to ruminate on all that and come to terms with that, that he sees this as some form of atonement. And Goku tries to go in, and it's just like, oh god, they're both ready to just die here and now. But then Oatmeal and Monaitu come flying by in Granola's ship, and Granola sees Goku and recognizes him, and he seems to just react to it in an interesting way. And he sees Granola, shouts out from the ship for Granola to knock it off. That gives Goku the opening he needs to get in close, bump Granola to the side, tells him not to be stupid and just throw away his life like this, and even tries to chew out Vegeta as well, who's just smiling up a storm. And as the ship lands, Granola's mad because it's just like Oatmeal meddling in his business again. and the old Namekian comes out, both Vegeta and Goku are shocked to see a Namekian. And Granola's just like, stand back, old man, let me end this. I just need it to be over. I need some form of closure after all of this. And Granola gets a revelation that I don't think he was ready for. I don't know if he'll even believe, as Monaito admits that he kind of lied to Granola. That there was one Saiyan who doesn't earn Granola's vengeance, and that is a man named Bardock, who was the one who actually saved them 40 years ago. And Goku's like, who the fuck is Bardock? Vegeta actually has a bit of a reaction to it, which takes me off guard because I figured he was too low class for Vegeta to even really know who he was. I know I think it was a lot of the filler material Vegeta mentioned Bardock, but I don't think it was actually canon as far as I know. And this really takes Granola off guard, and I'm wondering, because that's where the chapter ends, and I'm wondering, will that actually make a difference to Granola? After all of this, after everything he's been through, sacrificing a whole, 50 years of his life for this vendetta, for his vengeance, is he really going to accept this? Is he really just going to roll with the idea that a Saiyan saved him, and so it's not all Saiyans are bad? And I know a lot of people are up in arms at the thought of Bardock being portrayed as anything more than the callous person he used to be, because some of the fun of episode of Bardock, father of Goku, was the fact that Bardock was a ruthless killer, and it was only through knowing about the fate of his people that he was able to actually look past his own station and his nature. So quite a few people are actually taking offense to the idea that Bardock was some kind of savior. But it's funny though, because Toriyama never actually solidified Bardock's personality. And so a lot of people are calling this a retcon, but it's just like, yeah, but Toriyama never set in stone Bardock's personality. He never solidified it. He never really put it down concretely. Honestly, a lot of what we've gotten is technically the canon Bardock. But I don't blame a lot of people for not really seeing it from that angle, since so many of them love the portrayal of how Bardock used to be as this ruthless Saiyan. But the thing about Toriyama is he's always loved parodies and things that kind of mimicked other things. I mean, shoot, the whole reason we had a lot of elements within Dragon Ball is because he was a fan of a lot of movies, martial arts movies, alien movies, sci-fi movies, stuff like that. So him kind of taking cues from Superman of all things in order to kind of inform the direction that Goku kind of went in. I mean, hell, even when it came to the Saiyans' arrival, that was very reminiscent of Zod and the likes of that. I mean, Vegeta could honestly be seen as Goku's Zod from a certain point of view. But a lot of people really do cling to that OVA of how we saw things previously, and honestly, Toriyama's used to things changing and going in a different direction, and honestly, Toriyama also is more closely involved with this storyline than a lot of the previous things, much like what we saw in Dragon Ball Super Broly. So, we'll just have to see what happens when Monaito explains things and where things go. Will people accept it? I think there's going to be a big divide once we really learn the truth about things. And despite the fact that this puts Bardock a little bit more into canon, some people might wish that they never even bothered with this. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you like this direction that we're going with possible good guy Bardock? Or do you feel that they should have just left it alone and let Bardock just be that character from the OVA, and Goku was better off never really knowing too much about his father? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.